everyone. Good morning, Aurora. We're back after a nice little break that we had. Thank you for everyone that is just tuning in. Today we're gonna be talking something about real estate, but even more in depth, what goes before starting to shop, before getting pre-approved, because everything in the buying home purchase is a process. So with that said, today we have the experts from the Neighbor Project. You might be asking, who are the Neighbor Project? What are they? What do they do? Well, they play a vital role in the home purchase even before you're pre-approved, and sometimes even during the process. And with that said, I'll let David take it away.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Thank you for having us. Honestly, it's a great opportunity just to explain who we are, what the Neighbor Project does. So my name is David Blancas. I go by both names. I'm the Chief Equity and Operating Officer for the Neighbor Project. And with me, I got two of my superstars that do all of the work, basically. We got Cynthia.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Rico, and I've been with the Neighbor Project for 8 years, and I am the Breakthrough Rental Program Manager and also a HUD certified counselor.
And Taizi.
Thank you. So I'm Taizi Rodriguez, and I'm the Aurora Financial Empowerment Center Manager, and I've been with the organization for about 3 years now.
Fantastic, thank you. So a little bit about the Neighbor Project. We've been in the organization since 2018, officially since 2018, but actually our history goes much longer than that. It goes to the 1990s. It was two organizations that merged together, Joseph Corporation and Emmanuel House. And in 2018, when they merged, they created the Neighbor Project. And basically, it's exactly what Aaron said. We are here to help renters, working families, people like yourself, people like my family when I was growing up, go from renting to owning their first house. And as everyone was saying, that this is a process, right? It takes a while to prepare for that. And that's what we're here for, is to give you different opportunities, different ways so that you can prepare yourself and not only be able to buy a house, but keep your house and build that generational wealth for your family and your children.
That's amazing. That's amazing. How long you've been in the working for the Neighbor Project? How long?
So for me personally, when I was hired, if all of you know Rick Guzman, he's our executive director, our fearless leader. He recruited me back in 2020, a month before the pandemic started. So I've been working with the organization for just over 5 years now. I started as the FEC manager, and we'll talk more about the Financial Empowerment Center. Great program led by a great person. But I started there, and Rick just basically saw what I can bring to the table to elevate the organization, get the word out, and make us just even more efficient, more effective, and create more homeowners. And then I just got into this position as Chief Equity and Operating Officer.
Awesome. Congrats. Yeah, I met Rick a few times. Great guy. I want to give a quick shout out if he sees this. Keep it up.
He said he was going to be
Yeah,
watching
he's going to be watching
us.
this morning.
Okay, all right, that's good.
Hopefully he didn't forget about it.
Well, we have a coffee for us.
Right? Yeah.
So Cynthia, you say you've been in the Neighbor Project for 8 years.
Yeah, so I originally started when it was still Joseph Corporation.
Okay.
I was there right before we merged with Emmanuel House, and I started off as one of the receptionists. We started doing intake, and once Rick started, we needed some more counselors, and I took the opportunity to become a bilingual HUD housing counselor. So.
Yeah.
So I've done foreclosure prevention, pre-purchase, and now I'm managing the program for rental breakthrough.
Cool. You have a lot on your hands.
Yes, it's a lot, but it's been great.
That's awesome. And Taizi, how long you been in the Neighbor Project?
So I started with the Neighbor Project in 2022. And I wasn't actually working back then. I was just, I had my son, I have a 4-year-old, so I had my son, and I was like just, really trying to soak all in and, enjoy him. So I wasn't planning on going back to the workforce. And, before that, I was working with something else during COVID, got furloughed. So I wasn't working for a while, actually. And then this opportunity, presented itself, and, it was a part-time, financial coach opportunity, and, it's 5 minutes away from my house. It was ideal. I was like,
That's
I'm
far.
going to take it. I'm going to take it. And it was wonderful. And I knew people in the organization. I
Okay.
knew David. I knew, other coaches. And that became a full-time position, and then I became the senior, coach. And then, 3 years later, now here I am, as the program manager. So,
That's awesome.
and I still coach. I
Yeah.
still coach. So,
That's awesome.
still seeing a lot of clients on a daily basis.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, just something you might be asking, how am I kind of related, or how do I work with the neighbor project? So as being a realtor, the certain lenders, loan officers, they require home education course and a budgeting and a counseling. It all depends on the program. So when I also first started about 5-6 years ago, there was specific lenders, they needed that certificate, and when they pull up the list, they're like, oh, there's a neighbor project, send them there. And then, like you said, COVID started, and then everything was online, and then maybe 2 years after, when I can put a face to the names, I was like, okay, this is amazing. So that's why I say they do the job before even getting pre-approved, because without that certificate, without that counseling, the loan officer won't give them the pre-approval, or it won't close at all. And another thing, even let's say you're maybe a year or two even to maybe get started, it's a good step to get it out of the way, because that way the class and the counseling and talking to the experts, they will guide you step by step. If your credit needs work, or something with your budgeting. Also, disputes maybe in your credit report, because sometimes it happens. Your identity gets stolen, and if you don't fix that or take care of that before you're pre-approved, and then you're under contract, and then all those stuff pops up during contract, then it's gonna make it super stressful, and the process buying a house, and buying a house already stressful. That's why I really give them a lot of credit. I'm glad they're here, because they play a vital role. Without them, sometimes my job wouldn't be that easy. So thank you guys for being here. And what's other stuff I was gonna say before it slipped my mind? But anyways, with that said, Daisy, if you can explain of the FSC, so
Yeah,
people
definitely.
watching us.
Yeah, definitely. So the FEC started in 2020, so it was, like you said, like during COVID. So it was really tricky because, a lot of people didn't know about the FEC. So the program is an initiative from the city of Aurora, and they subcontract the Neighbor Project to deliver the services, right? So I'm an employee of the Neighbor Project, but we, have this close relationship with the city of Aurora. And the goal of the program is to really, help individuals in our community and families to, understand their finances and do better, and, get the foundation that maybe they haven't gotten when they were younger, right? And really understand like what it is to have a budget, right? Like to, plan for savings, plan for emergencies, plan for retirement, kids' college. Like, of course, the ultimate goal is that, they're buying homes, they're keeping their homes, they're creating that generational wealth. That is the ultimate goal. But we do see a lot of clients sometimes that, they need to fix their credit because they want to, purchase a car, or they want to move out of their parents' house. They're just coming, fresh out of college, and now they're trying to figure out what the next steps are. So we see a little bit of everything and everyone from 18 all the way to like 80. And the core things that we do at the FEC, so the things that we work with our clients are, like I said, budgeting, savings, homeownership, debt reduction, credit improvement, establishing credit. We work with individuals that have a Social Security, that don't have a Social Security, right? All of the coaches are bilingual, and we have an office, right, pretty much downtown Aurora, so we can see folks in person. We have video sessions, over the phone sessions, so it's a really, really great program. I mean, we love what we do. We are happy to assist the community in, the best way we can, and just love working with these individuals that do such an amazing work. So, yeah, and for those that are trying to buy a home, seeing the FEC, I think it's a vital, like you said, it's a vital portion of what makes them extremely prepared, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what you need, right? So sometimes they think it's just like as simple as like, I'm gonna go to the bank and I'm gonna seek for an approval for a loan, and then I'm just gonna go from there and I'm gonna make those payments, I'm gonna make them work. And I'm like, well, in reality is that a lot of things need to come together in order for you to get even approved, right? Is your credit, your down payment, your ability to even fulfill that payment, right? That mortgage payment, like to having a sustainable budget that you're not going to fall behind, because the goal is that nobody really forecloses on their home, right? The bank wants them to keep their home and eventually fulfill that payment. So our goal is to make the whole process easier for them, so they can understand, so they can go into purchasing a home knowing exactly that they can afford that.
That's great. That's great. You just hit a point that I just remember came back. The other reason, the Neighbor Project, all the organization, all the members, they do a good job in explaining the people the home buying process, because sometimes the lenders with maybe 10,000 files, they don't have that time, maybe not that they don't want to, but maybe they don't have the time to go spend an hour just with a client with this is how the process is going to go. Me, I try to do that, but gonna lie, sometimes for the same reason, sometimes it's so busy that I'm like, whoops. And sometimes I want to tell them as we go, because if I tell them everything beforehand, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
But if they do go with the Neighbor Project, which I recommend they do, they will break it down. They will have maybe an hour with you, right with the client. You explain everything. You can ask them everything. So they're like that. How do I explain it?
Is that accountability partner? I like to call us like the accountability partner. Like, we'll explain the process, we'll walk them through it, and then we just walk alongside them to make sure that they do achieve their goals, right? So it's really accountability.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it, that we walk alongside them.
Yeah.
Right. It's one of the reasons why I decided to join this organization. My background has been in education. I was a high school teacher. I worked at several nonprofits. Shout out to Family Focus, my first big boy job. Right. And the organizations that I worked for, main reason was because they see the power of the community. Right. They don't see people like my community as charity cases, or that they can't do this, or that they need like a savior. It's, hey, you can do this, right? We can provide you the resources and we will teach you how to do this, but at the end of the day, it's them doing it, right? Yeah. It's them taking the steps, it's them, and then we're just there like, hey, use this, cheering them on, like working alongside them.
Yeah,
like,
we're there as a guide.
Yeah.
And one of the things, like if you're asking right now, do they have a charge? No, it's free.
Yes.
All we need from, especially when you're under contract, just a commitment and responsibility. You want to make this work for you, because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one who is inside the house, taking care of it, sleeping in it, spending those wonderful moments with your loved ones. So, hey, take advantage of this resources the City of Aurora is providing. And what a wonderful thing I think it is, because there's a lot of organizations like this similar, I want to say in the city, in Chicago, there are a lot of them, but if we have one over here in Aurora, we don't have to travel to Chicago or Addison, just to name a few. Hey, take advantage of it. That's how I look at it. You want to add something to it, Cynthia?
Yeah, for sure. So as Aaron was saying, one of the major things that a lot of people don't know is how the home buying process works. You want to buy a home, you don't know where to start, you don't know how you can get some down payment assistance, you don't know who's all involved, and one of the very important things to do would be to call a HUD certified agency. We are actually one of the only ones in King County. So just giving us a call, we have an amazing intake specialist that can guide you and kind of triage where you can start. But if you're home buyer ready, we will explain the entire process, who's involved. There's so many people that complete that puzzle, and it's just good to know that process, know all the documents that you need just to be home buyer ready. I wish I would have known about this a long time ago. There's, as a new home buyer, first time home buyer, there's down payment assistance. Even the City of Aurora right now, we just found out that they're extending their home buyer assistance amount, which was originally 5,000. I believe it's going up to 20,000. That's awesome.
Shout out to Adam. We saw him in the
Shout
hallway.
out, yeah.
Hopefully
He was just
they,
explaining that to
hopefully
me.
they disclosed that already.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, eventually that will happen. So yeah, hopefully they did. But anyway, there's a lot of details that is very important for any home buyer to know. And one of the greatest things is, like Aaron, as soon as he knows that someone is interested in buying a home, he will immediately send them to us. We start explaining that process. We work with a person, whether it's 6 months or a year out or even a month out, and you're already going through the process. That's what we're there for. So.
Cool. Thank you, Cynthia, for adding that stuff. I'm just gonna take a quick break to say hi to the comments. Flying out. Daniel Carol is here. Thank you for tuning in. Jose Dominguez, my beloved friend. Tracy Duran, good friend of the program. Brittany Nichols, Danny. I'm going over here. I'm going crazy. Norman Peterson. And
We're popular this
and
morning.
the neighbor
Look at that.
project
Look
also.
at
The
that.
neighbor
Oh, look
project.
at
5 years in, they're watching.
Yeah.
Hi,
There
Rick.
you go,
Good
there you
morning.
go.
I know, right?
Thank you for everyone for tuning in, and share this podcast with your friends, neighbors, family. They're a good resource to have, especially when you're gonna buy a house. They do all the hard work that sometimes me or the lenders we just sometimes don't have. Not that we don't have to, not that we don't want to, but because we don't have that time that sometimes for me from closing, driving to a showing, and then
Yeah. You
sometimes
guys do a lot,
makes,
though.
makes it
It's a lot.
makes
It's
it
hard
difficult.
work, too. Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to say thank you guys. You play a vital role in my career and in my job as well. So before we talk about another subject, what made you, each one of you, be involved in what's your inspiration? What's your motivation? We'll start from whoever want to take it first.
I'll start.
Okay.
For me is the mission. When I first started, like Taizi, it was convenient. My father-in-law told me about it, and I started working part-time. Shout out to my father-in-law. I know you're watching, Danny. And once I got to know what the mission is,
Maybe he is. Danny Jack.
Yes.
Okay.
He works for the township.
He's saying Cynthia doing big things.
Yes.
Yeah, she is.
And I just love the mission. I really appreciated getting to see from start to finish somebody that was inspired to become a homeowner or get out of debt or save their home, and just being able to see those steps with them and just walk in that path with them, and to be able to see that success. It was just great for me. And once I got to know Rick and his mission, and how he wanted to continue this mission and expand it, it was amazing. And that's why I got into doing into becoming the Breakthrough Rental Program Manager, which I'll explain a little bit.
Yes. I can go next. So to me, yeah, several reasons. My background is a little different. I come from the hospitality industry, but as an immigrant in the country, I feel like a lot of things I didn't know, right? When I moved here, as far as finances and credit, I do have a background in finances as well. But everything is so different. Everything operates differently here. So it was out of convenience for sure, but just being able to help the community with the things, maybe the tools that I didn't have when I moved here, I think that's really, truly, it became a passion of mine. And I've always feel like, in past jobs that I had, something was always missing, because I've always had it in my heart that I wanted to do something to help the community. And what a better way to do that than, equipping the community to really become, sustainable and, just buying homes and then, achieving those dreams that they're dreaming of, sometimes for many years, right? So I think that's truly what goes behind it. And then just really working with amazing people. I've always been lucky to work with amazing people that I love working with. I think that just makes the job job like so much easier, because if you work with people that you don't enjoy, that you don't get along on a daily basis, it just makes everything like more miserable, right? Like, but when you do work with people that are like-minded, they share the same values that you have, and then they're really, you know, working towards like the same goals, I think that's inspiring on a daily basis. So
and then we become like family. I want to say that.
Yeah,
really
that's for sure. I was gonna
you
say
really
that.
do. You really do. So it's a combination of a lot of things. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for me, it's very, very personal. Again, immigrants, I live the undocumented life, right? I have DACA right now, all of that. And I watched my family just always rent. They always paid the rent on time, right? They always paid their utilities, all of that. But they were never able to save. And it was just one of those things that we lived in a very small apartment that did not accommodate my entire family. Again, little to no savings. And I can just see how much my dad, my mom would work, but financially there was nothing to show for it. It wasn't until we all moved into my grandma's basement, right? Like 5 of us in like a 1-bedroom basement for about a year and a half, that my family was finally able to save enough for a down payment. And even then, we still had to borrow money from another family member in order to complete the down payment for a decent sized house. When we bought that house, that was the turning point in my life. I mean, there were other things, right? But that was the biggest just difference in having that sustainability, not worrying if we're going to get evicted, right? Because I know my parents are going to pay the rent or the mortgage now, right? Like, there was no worries about, is the building going to be sold, and then are we going to have a new landlord that's going to displace us because they want to hike rents up, right? We've seen that happen. Now I have my own bedroom. Now I'm able to focus on school and not feel ashamed of inviting friends over, right? So even like my self-confidence increased. I was able to go to college, and a shout out to Aurora University for giving me a fantastic education. Yes. But yeah, that was the biggest turning point in my life. And that's one of the things that I see with many organizations is they see a problem and they treat the symptoms, right? The Neighbor Project, we see the problem. We're in the middle of a housing crisis right now. Affordable housing, I mean, rents are skyrocketing. There's not enough houses available. The housing market, like just houses in general, the price has increased significantly, right? So we're in the middle of a housing crisis. And one of the things that I absolutely love about the Neighbor Project is that we're not here to treat the symptom. We're here to get to the root cause and fix the system, right? The best way that we can. That brought me to the Neighbor Project. Again, being a teacher, I guided students into college and tried to help them finance their education. But they're thinking about this when they're juniors and seniors, when they should be thinking about this when they're in elementary school, right? When they should be seeing the FEC a lot sooner, right? Not those last 2 years. They're thinking about the stability for their older kids, or when they should have hopefully had sought out an organization earlier. And that's what the Neighbor Project is here for, right? To provide that. And so I'm going to transition this into the Breakthrough Rental Program, which is our flagship program, right? This is our innovative solution to treat the root cause of this housing crisis. And we have a great manager, a great housing counselor in Cynthia right here, who has done a phenomenal job and can explain more about Breakthrough Rental, what it is, what it does, why it's so innovative, and why we want other organizations to start modeling this.
Thank you, David. And your example, what you've gone through is a perfect example of what we look for and how we want to help families become homeowners, build their roots, and get to that root cause of the issue. You don't want to treat a symptom. You definitely want to help them out. So we help a lot of multi-diverse minorities, everyone in the community, but anyone that's looking to eventually become a homeowner and is just having trouble saving money. you find yourself working and your low to moderate income is not helping you save any additional income to put a down payment, put down for a down payment. So it's a 2-year residential program. I do screenings to see if you would be a good fit for the program. Once I do find out that you are or not, if not, I will refer you back over to the FEC to get started, work on some debt, increasing your savings, and if not, then I will put you on a wait list. We will match you up with one of our units, either on the east or the west side of Aurora, and once you start renting, you're essentially saving part of your rent, and you'd be saving up to about a year of rent for a future down payment here in Aurora, and it would be essentially 60505, 04, and 06 if you would be purchasing in the future. Throughout that time that you're renting from us, every 3 months you'd be meeting with me. I would go over your finances. We look over a financial picture, just ensuring that you're staying on budget. Your savings is doing well, because essentially you do have to save a little bit of money on your own, so we'd work on your budget. And then at the end, then I'd prepare you for the home buying process. We would go over what the whole picture of the home buying process is, who's all involved. I will let you know about some lenders, down payment assistance that may work for you. And then essentially we'd give you your wings, and you'd be able to hopefully purchase a home here in Aurora.
Awesome.
Like, think about that, right?
Yeah.
The Neighbor Project owns 60 plus units throughout Aurora. We just purchased a 34 unit apartment building on the west side, right across Black Hawk Park on View Street and Galena.
I used to live right there.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, come by and visit. But this 2-year program, like, think about it. You are in our units in one of our apartments for 2 years, right? As Cynthia mentioned, it's already at a reduced cost. We don't, we're not at market rent prices. It's very affordable. And then a year's worth of your rent gets placed into a savings account with one of our financial partners, right? Like, think about that. And then after the year, most people, when they graduate from the program, again, 2 years, they rent with us. We prepare them for the home buying journey. And after 2 years, typically, how much do they have saved up?
They could save anywhere from about $10,000 to $18,000, depending on their family size and the unit size as well.
Like, that's amazing. What other program here in Kane County or Illinois is doing something similar to this?
Correct.
Right? Our wait list is very long.
Yes, it is.
Right? And hopefully we can continue purchasing more apartment buildings so that we can, again, this is treating the root cause, right? Right now with affordable housing, we got plenty of people building, or plenty of for-profit companies building affordable housing units so that people can stay there for 10, 20, 30 years. That one unit is only serving one family, right? In 10 years, it's a 2-year program. Our one unit is serving 5 families, and not only serving 5 families, but creating that stability, that long-term stability, right? So Breakthrough Rental, again, it's in great hands with Cynthia. It's doing amazing, and it provides those wraparound services that they get the financial counseling either from Cynthia or from the Financial Empowerment Center. And again, Taizi is a manager, has been doing a great job with that as well. But it's something that I do want to highlight. Just the Breakthrough Rental, just how powerful it is. And apart from the 10 to 18,000, I think you said,
Yes.
Of the savings, with our financial partners like FNBO, like Huntington Bank,
Old National,
right? We have so many. We partner with them, and they provide additional down payment assistance. City of Aurora, as Cynthia just mentioned, Kane County, Ida, they have down payment assistance that we can also layer on top of that with what you have saved. So most people that come to us, they receive anywhere on average, and we were just crunching numbers the other day, about $15,000 in down payment assistance. Some will receive less, but some receive more, right? But on average, if you come to us, $15,000 in down payment assistance Right now, that's buying power.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
And
buying power.
it's so needed right now, especially with the housing market.
Stuff.
And I was gonna
stuff.
say, Adam, like I feel like for some of our clients, because I refer tons of clients to the Breakthrough Rental Program, sometimes that's the difference between them making it or not to purchase
Yeah.
a home, because if they are on a limited income, or I want to say 60% of our clients are females, and they're raising kids alone. They don't have additional support. So sometimes it's just really a matter of like getting, being able to save half of their rent to really put as a down payment, because there's only so much that you can stretch your income. So it is a wonderful, amazing program.
So thank you
welcome.
guys. We have to cut it short.
Thank you.
I think we already went a little bit over there.
Yeah,
but it's
sorry,
all
we
good,
can
it's
keep
all
going
good.
all
No,
day.
no, it's all good. It's all good. Let's make this again.
Yes.
We have a lot of good value information. You heard it. Look them up and Facebook.
Check out our website.
Neighborproject.us.
And also Instagram. They're everywhere on social media. And that Neighbor Project. Thank you. Please share this podcast. See you next week.
Thank you.
Feeling bullied by your bank?
Hey, I got a random overdraft fee.
You've reached our main menu. If you're disputing an overdraft fee, please press 4. Or just hang up and call back tomorrow.
Are you pretending to be a robot?
Goodbye.
Stop banking the same way, expecting different results, and start banking where you matter. Wintrust. Different approach, better results.
YEP gives me a lot of hope for the future, not just here locally, but as those kids go out into the world and they share their perspectives and their passions, it's going to be infectious. It's going to spread. So they're just an amazing organization that sets their partners and this community up for success. The future of this community, and honestly, the country and the world,